So the innkeeper earlier in the day seemed interested in at least finding out what your skills would be. He had to put it off till tomorrow because it's been a little busy. But in the meanwhile, he's rented you a room. Well, not a room, but a place to sleep for half what he would normally. With the promise that tomorrow you'll actually uh, get a tour of the kitchen, show that actual head cook if you can. Um, in the meanwhile, you're just kind of hanging out while everybody is drinking and carousing. I am now going to move the story along. So, until now, strangers all in a strange city, you had found yourselves engaged in light conversation, but the festive chatter of the crowd is suddenly silenced by an angry shout. Two men, one in red and another in white, are closing upon one another as one of Master Farron's toughs move to break up the fight. Only a coward turns his back on his queen, one cries. Burn me, but you'll eat those words, replied the man in white, as he reaches for his dagger. But before the fight joins, a bouncer grabs the man. The furious combatant struggles to turn his knife on the tough, but before he can draw blood, the powerful bouncer hurls the man at the stable wall. He crashes against a shed door, tumbling through it as it splinters apart, to land in a heap on the floor within. There's a gasp from the hushed crowd, but the unconscious man in white is no longer the focus of attention, for within the shadows of the shed, a dark form is taller than a man by half. His bestial head swings towards the open door. Light glints off monstrous fangs. Disturbingly human eyes survey the crowd as a low growl emerges from his throat. The creature brandishes a crude, curving sword and steps towards the doorway. Behind it, more such creatures stir in the darkness. There's a collective scream as the crowd scatters in every direction. I need you all to make spot checks.
Yeah, tell me how to do that.
Yep. So what you need to do is you need to find on your sheet where it says spot check. Roll d20, which is the biggest die you have. I'll come make sure so. It would be the only one that has the number.
I got it.
All right. So you're going to roll that and then add your spot modifier.
I didn't do very good.
Beauty of having a group of people. Hopefully someone.
Can you come here for a second?
7.
I'm going to go Albert. Carrie, you don't notice anything aside from
Okay.
I got 19.
19.
I got 19.
Sorry, guys, I didn't do very well.
We were relying on you, Christy. You're our eyes.
That was your first mistake.
Okay, so I'm going to jump straight to the point instead of asking you all individually. Did anybody roll a 12 or higher?
Me and Kimmy, 18, 19. We did it.
All right.
Good job, guys.
So you notice that two of the creatures in the shed are hastily forcing the struggling form of a young body into a coarse burlap. These creatures are Trollocs, a band. So
Will
what
you
a
stop
Trolloc
talking
is?
like that? I'm not sure if you cut out or stop talking.
It's because I stopped talking ahead so that I don't accidentally read things that you guys aren't supposed to. Going through this, I didn't have time to prepare. Our kids were lovely tonight. Normally, I do a little bit of reading right before we play. Didn't get that opportunity, so I'm kind of running through it. My apologies. So give me just.
Apologize to Craig. He's the only one that matters or cares. Yeah, one of
Look at his face. He's so
Poor Craig.
angry.
judging you with those judgy eyes.
Sitting there, so if anybody has knowledge shadow spawn as one of their tagged, or actually just anybody who has knowledge shadow spawn can also make a check again.
I have Scent Shadow Sprung as one of my weaves.
Yes. So what that allows you to do is, if you concentrate, the longer you concentrate, the further away you can sense whether there's shadow spawn nearby. But it's not foolproof, and it's requires your attention to some degree. Yes. So yeah, did anybody roll above a 12 on knowledge shadow spawn? Did anybody have that?
No, sir.
I have Knowledge Arcana.
All right. So
Where would I see that?
Heard the myths, the legends, and the stories that people tell about Trolloc, about how they are murderous, half man, half beast monsters that make up the majority of the Dark One. Most people in this region of the world believe these stories to be nothing more than children's fairy tales. People who are from the borderlands, which border the Blight, where the Trollocs live, know these to be more than fairy tales. And the further south that you go, the less and less it becomes common knowledge. Um, it's been 2,000. It's been 2,000 years since the Trolloc Wars happened, where Trollocs and Murdril poured out of the Great Blight and basically attacked. They're a rare occurrence outside of the borderland. So these stories come to life in front of you here. Most of the people are fleeing, but one of the bouncers, whose name is Roll, charging. What are you guys?
As people run past me, I'm holding up my bells, ringing 5 marks apiece. 5 marks apiece.
Nobody seems to be paying any heed.
I will just like get up and try to move like to the outskirts of the room, maybe hide behind a super tall person or something.
Okay. Most of the people are either rushing in to the inn itself proper because you're currently in a stable yard, or they're rushing out of the stables into the street. Does anybody want to take any action?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna kind of like stand up and look around because like I'm not gonna attack these things, but if anybody is, I'm looking to help them.
I'm probably hiding under a table.
Okay. So with nobody to help, the Trolloc in front quickly dispatches of poor Rawl, and then they all start to make their way out of the shed into a nearby alleyway.
Wait, was there a guy who was fighting them?
One of the bouncers. Wow, that was weird. Everybody's position on my phone just changed. I'm sorry. So yeah, one of the bouncers had stepped up to try to help, I guess. But he is now lying dead on the ground.
Snap.
He suffered a grievous injury from the curved sword of the Trolloc who's standing.
So who's our tank in this group? Like, do we have a fighter person?
There's no
So-
tanks.
The person who is most capable of. So, all right. First of all, your most combat-oriented person is Josh. He stepped away. The next most combat-oriented person kind of be a little bit of a tie between Carrie and Christy Roger. Yay!
My stats are horrible. I'm shocked.
Well,
Wait,
okay.
wait, don't
so,
let that guy die, you guys.
Hang on.
I'm not. I didn't realize that I was supposed to be fighting.
No, and that's fine. Not
We
the
don't
only
need to
person
fight.
here, and this might be a failure on mine. But yeah, so Rogers is just in terms of game mechanics, Rogers has a +1 to melee with a longsword, and is actually proficient in using a longsword. Carrie, you are proficient in throwing dagger, and by proficient I mean you have a +2 to hit.
But I thought if I threw something that I lose it.
Yes, you don't have any. So let's do a little rundown of the actual mechanics of these characters. So, and this is probably my fault for not doing this in advance. With the fact that I helped, I wrote most of this for you guys. You're not, so I apologize. And even then, me reciting it back to you right away was. So Carrie has a dagger and -1 to melee, +2 to range. Rogers has a long sword, +1 to melee. Kimmy has a dagger, -1 to melee, +1 to range. And Christy has a short sword.
Yeah.
Now that being said, those are just your physical attributes. I know there are 2 of you who also have. Which did you guys and by you guys I mean Kim and Rogers, did you read into it at all? How
Yes.